Governor 2.0 here to bring you another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing my top 5 favorite episodes ever of The Walking Dead in reverse order, 5 to 1. Alright, so let's get right into it. My 5th favorite episode of The Walking Dead, the Season 4 finale, A. I thought this episode was fantastic for a number of reasons. Let's start with the fact that Rick bit a guy's throat off. Let's just let that sink in. He bit a guy's throat off. I thought that was one of the most intense, amazing scenes of The Walking Dead, and this is why us fans, we watch it, is for these scenes. This is why it's the #1 show on television, because there's those scenes that just blow your mind, and that was one of them. It was a very defining moment, in my opinion, for Rick, because he kind of accepted, you're going to have to do the worst kinds of things to survive. And you are going to have to bite a couple people's throats to save the people you love, but it's their life or yours, and you can't let them kill the people that you care about. And in this instance, it was his son, and Michonne and Daryl. So yes, I think this is going to be defining for Rick as we move on in the series. I think he's definitely going to become a more hardcore badass than he ever has been before. It's reminding me of the beginning of Season 3, where he comes in and there's Tomas, and he throws the walker at him and tries to kill him, and he's like, shit happens, and Rick's like, yeah, I know, shit happens, and sticks a machete in his head. That's what that reminded me of. That's how ruthless you have to be, and he would have had this development earlier, I feel, if his wife didn't die and send him just in a spiral downwards into being insane. So this is going to push him forward through the next few seasons as for what kind of person he's going to be. And I really like that. I really like the more badass, hardcore Rick Grimes over the farmer Rick, if you will. Also, another great scene, Terminus. You finally find out, exactly what Terminus is. You finally get there. This is the second time you've seen it, but this is the first time you really get more of an inside look. You see the people recording, "Welcome to Terminus. Those who arrive survive." And you meet this guy, Gareth, who seems, like a fine guy. He actually looks kind of, wimpy. He doesn't look like the kind of guy that you'd be afraid of. But it ends up he's an enemy, and I feel that the termites are cannibals. But either way, they're not with Rick's group. They're antagonists. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I thought the ending scene, getting them all in the train car, and that last line, "You're screwing with the wrong people," gave me chills, even though it was the censored version versus what was in the comic. It still just was amazing. So that's why it's on this list. I just thought it was a great episode overall. Alright, my next favorite episode, and this one I know a lot of people are going to disagree with, because it was not one of the best received episodes, because it followed the governor. Surprise, surprise. Live Bait. I thought this episode was fantastic because of the character development for the governor. I liked that it took themes from the Rise of the Governor book. As I have previously stated, that is my favorite book ever. It took Tara and that family and kind of mixed it with a character from the comic books, Lily, and I thought that was fantastic. I thought that seeing him so broken and alone after killing his army showed that he really was human, that he really could have feelings. And I think that when he got, in my opinion, he got redeemed in this episode. He found this family, and he saves the little girl in the Walker pits, and I think that episode leads so well into Too Far Gone, but it's so different from the comic books because he doesn't want to go in and kill them all at first. He has the idea that he's going to save his group, and I think that was just a great change from the comic books, seeing that the governor is actually human and he does have these emotions. And I know a lot of people will argue, oh, well, he killed Herschel, and he blew up the prison, and he said kill them all, he wanted them all dead. Yes, that's true. That was only after the person he was trying to protect died. What else did he have to live for? I mean, if your daughter died, you would be devastated too. And I mean, with nobody to take your anger out on, who are you going to take it out on? You're going to take it out on the group that's standing in your way of freedom, and you're going to kill them all. And so that's what the governor did, and it shows even further that he is human, and he does have these emotions. He's not just a machine. He's not a Terminator or something that can just kill without emotion and deal with all the loss. So I really like that change. And Too Far Gone will be later on this list. But I just loved Live Bait. Watching it the first time, it was not what I expected. It was just fantastic. I loved the whole governor storyline, even though it was not well received by most fans because there was no, Rick or Daryl, which is understandable. But I personally am a governor fan, and I thought it reminded me of a standalone zombie movie. I feel like that could have been a zombie movie. That's what the feel was to me, and so I really liked it. Alright, the next episode, number 3, is a very good episode. Season 2, Episode 3, Save the Last One. As I've previously stated, Shane is my favorite character. This, for me, was Shane's defining episode. This was the one where him and Otis went into the high school looking for the medical supplies to save Carl's life. And they get trapped there by a horde. And it's this just epic escape, and they have to try and survive this huge horde, which we hadn't seen too much of before. We saw it at the camp that one night, and we saw them, pass by on the highway, but there was no action on the highway there. So this was probably the biggest horde that we'd seen some action with, other than just hiding from. And when Shane shot Otis, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this too. That's fine. We all have our own opinions. I think he did the right thing, because if you picture it as he either shoots Otis, who kind of got himself into that mess. He did shoot Carl, and it was accidental, and Otis, wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't trying to shoot Carl. He still did shoot Carl. And he went into the high school knowing that he might not make it out. And people will argue that there could have been another way out. There wasn't another way out. They were trapped, and they would have been overrun. They would have gotten torn apart, and then Carl would have died, and then who knows what would have happened with Rick. You saw how he was with Lori. Imagine how he would have been with Carl. He would have completely lost it. He would have been incapable of leading, and it probably would have led to even more deaths. In my opinion. So, and people will also argue, well, fine, he had to shoot him to get away, but why not just shoot him in the head and make it quick instead of leaving him to be torn apart? And I will be honest, I had that thought the first time I watched it. I'm like, well, I mean, you couldn't have escaped, but you could have made it quick for him, right? Humane? But then I went back and I rewatched it a couple times, and I realized if Otis wasn't screaming and attracting even more walkers was the sound away from Shane still might have not made it out. So I think that Shane did what he had to do, and I think that because of it, he saved him and Carl's life, and there was no other way around it. So that's my opinion on the whole Shane situation. Now, of course, I'm biased because I'm a Shane fan, but leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm interested to see what other Walking Dead fans think about it, if anybody agrees with me. Probably not, but still. Alright, on to my next episode, number 2. This one I've already talked quite a bit about, so I won't spend too much time on it. Too Far Gone. Tears were shed this episode. Lots of them. I lost 2 of my top 5 favorite characters, number 2 and number 5, Herschel and the Governor. Not in that order. The Governor was first and then Herschel, but it was just fantastic. It was one of the best episodes ever, number 2, to only 1 in my opinion so far. And I liked the fact that the Governor was kind of a changed man, and he came in there with better motives. But I've already spent a lot of time on this. I'm not going to spend too much time on that episode. Though I will say it was one of the most emotionally taxing episodes that The Walking Dead has ever had. And I mean, that's saying something, being that we've lost so many people: T-Dog, Lori, Merle, Shane, Dale, the list goes on. But losing Herschel was just so big for that group, because Herschel was kind of the only moral compass they really had left. He filled Dale's shoes, and I thought that he was an amazing character. So it was very sad to see him go. Rest in peace, Herschel. Rest in peace, Governor. Or some might say, rot in hell. Rest in peace. Alright, so now on to my favorite episode ever of The Walking Dead. And there's very little chance it will ever be changed. However, The Walking Dead always tends to blow my mind. So it might, change in Season 5. But my favorite episode ever, pretty much dead already. This episode, I remember watching it the first time and thinking, holy shit, this is the best show ever. The action, the character development, the horrible death of Sophia, who I wasn't even a big fan of Sophia. I mean, she was just a little girl. She was kind of just there. She didn't do anything. So I wasn't even sad to see her go. But what made me sad was the effects it had on Carol, who was, her mother. And any mother losing their child is just awful for them, and it's hard to deal with. But also Daryl, because Daryl was out there and he almost died searching for Sophia just to find out she was dead. And you can see later in the season how much that affects him and how distant he grows from the group after that. And of course, in Season 3, he goes right back to being with the group, which I actually was not a fan of. I did not like Daryl softening up. I liked him better when he was a hard ass. But that's just me. Pretty Much Dead Already was just an amazing episode overall. From the confrontation with Shane and Dale, that was a great scene, and Dale saying, the world may have gone to shit, but it's not going to take me with it. I love that, and it showed so much what kind of man Dale was. And I loved him for that. He was such a great character, and I wish the actor did not want to get killed off, because I would have loved to see Dale stick around more. But you gotta respect that. He did lose a friend on the show, so with Frank Darabont leaving. So, and also the barn scene is, in my opinion, the best scene ever in The Walking Dead, ever. I love the action of it, and when Shane's saying it ain't like it was before, that's another defining moment for Shane, and also the rest of the group. It's also a defining moment for Herschel, because it's when he finally realizes that these things are not sick, they're dead, and that they have to be eliminated, because all they do, they kill. You ain't gotta feel nothing for them, because all they do, they kill. They killed Otis, they killed Amy, so I loved Shane's speech, if you couldn't tell. Because, that's how it kind of has to be, in my opinion. And I definitely agree with Shane's viewpoint, and which has now become Rick's viewpoint, too. So, which I really love. And if you think about it, if Shane was around now, he'd fit right in. And probably less people would have died. But, I just loved the scene where Sophia came out, and you could see the horror in the entire group, and Rick stepped forward, and he knew, this was his job. It was his responsibility. He's the leader. He's the one who let her out there, even though he was trying to save her. And so he had to be the one to put her down. So, just 10 out of 10. Fantastic episode. Let me know what you think, what your top 5 favorites are in the comments. As always, leave me your requests at the Governor 108 or in the comments, and I will try and make as many videos as I can. I'm trying to do, I've done 4 or 5 today, so that's a lot. I won't be doing that much every day with school and track coming up, but I'll try to do as much as I can. My next video I might do just a little bit about myself. It's going to be a short one. But yeah, that is all for today. let me know in the comments what your top 5 favorite episodes are, and I will see you guys later. Kill them all.